So Dwayne Johnson did this a really lengthy sit down at the Chapman University in California. The Hollywood Reporter hosted this, and they put up a transcript. We're not going to go through it because a lot of it covers his whole career, navigating Hollywood and the roles that he has selected over the years. And then it got to The Smashing Machine, which I think everyone looked at his most ambitious role to date. But the story of this film, as much as it was Dwayne Johnson acting against type, was this thing tanked at the box office. So that was part of the line of questioning of how he views this. And one of Dwayne Johnson's comments was, even that Friday night when we opened, I went to sleep peacefully and woke up peacefully because it represented this thing. And even though we didn't do well at the box office or as well as we wanted to, it was okay because it just represented the thing I did for me. A24 probably did not have that same reaction that, you know what? It's cool. He did this thing for himself. He said, for years, I would do these other films that were big and fun, Jumanji, Moana, with a happy ending. And I love that still. But what this represented was, oh, wait, I can do the thing I love, which is to tell stories. But I could also take all this stuff and have a place to put it. So if you ask if I'm going to run towards this, we have a project with Martin Scorsese, a project with Darren Aronofsky. Yes, I'm going to run. Put all my shit in that and continue to challenge myself. Anyway, Smashing Machine, as you see, was an opportunity of a lifetime and did change my life. So Dwayne Johnson's okay with
that's a very positive way of looking at this whole experience, you know, and I think it's also a great way of promoting the movie, if I'm quite honest, you know, like not many people are interested in the idea of this movie clearly, but once it hits streaming, I could see it like picking up at least a secondary life. Not to say it'll recuperate the massive losses that it's already suffered, but I think there's something to be said for critical acclaim if that continues, if more people end up watching it, because I think more people will enjoy it if they do watch the movie. And
let's play amateur like Hollywood analysts here. Yeah. If you are in the position of A24 and you want to give this guy a full Oscar campaign, which means more dollars, a budget to really push this guy for the Oscars. Like, is A24 investing that in Dwayne Johnson or is this like, we're just throwing bad money out the window of a project that, again, Variety's reporting here was that the budget was tabbed at 50 million and this film looks to have generated 19. Like, that's what we're looking at.
I mean, I would look at the field and strongly consider whether or not Dwayne Johnson would have a chance of being nominated. And I guess I haven't necessarily heard enough of that conversation. Like, I've heard some of the buzz, you know, initially, but most of the conversations surrounding the movie has been its poor box office performance. People aren't even like, people are saying, oh, he's doing a good job, but I'm not hearing like such raving like, you know, reports about his performance that think it's Oscar worthy. So if I'm A24 at this point, I might say, you know what, Dwayne, I don't think so. You know, if you want to foot the bill for some of these packages that we're going to send to the Academy, then maybe you could do it. But, you know, since this was such a great project for you and all, maybe you could foot the bill for that. But I don't know if A24 necessarily would be gaining that much from it. But again, like the fact that Dwayne stands by this performance so much and stands by the movie and the experience so much, I think
he should.
Like, is great. It's great
he
for
should.
the promotion
like,
of it.
Honestly, like this will not be looked upon. Like this will be like this. Like this was the smallest opening of any of Dwayne Johnson's films. But I think like the movie I don't think it warranted like the buzz some were trying to clamor for it coming out of Venice and stuff. I think that was a little accentuated, but you know, I think he did like a really fine role as Mark Kerr. And like your argument is like, did I enjoy this guy playing this different role? I did. I would love to see him tackle more of these roles, but that's me as a consumer, that my investment is $16. If I was A24 or any big production and I'm putting together a $50 million budget, is this the best utilization of Dwayne Johnson versus something that's a lot more safe that we can bank off of this guy? And I think that's what will be some of the struggle for him to try and push. Like, you get your chance to do your big artistic film when you're a Dwayne Johnson level, but it does have to deliver. But this is still a guy that does carry a lot of weight, and we'll see what kind of passion projects he can push through when you do have an L attached to this one.
Yeah. It's I'm never gonna say like it's unfair for Dwayne Johnson, because like he's the most successful person in Hollywood, or at least like of this generation, one of the most successful people. But in some ways, it is a little unfair that like this conversation surrounding box office is so tied to him specifically, right? Like if it was, please name another actor. I have no.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, it would be a question for him too. Like
Jeremy Allen White.
fine, yes, Jeremy Allen White. Like if he started in the Smashing Machine, I mean, the expectations would simply not be there for this to perform the way it did, right? We'd only be talking about the performance mainly. But with the Dwayne Johnson film, you're comparing it to Moana, Jumanji.
Well, listen, this has been one of the most bankable stars of this past generation. So I mean,
it's not a bankable movie, not a bankable topic.
Well, I mean that wasn't the discussion going into this. It was,
Right.
it was thought to be like this was like Oscar bait, that the way this was being trumpeted from like Venice, and then you got to Toronto and there was a bit of a more skeptical eye of, okay, it's good, but it's, you set the expectations so high. It's like these ridiculous 15-minute standing ovations, which I haven't seen like unedited footage of a 15-minute standing ovation. I want to see this. I want to see people literally standing for 15 minutes clapping. Like I can't fathom it. I can't fathom it, but I'm not on the Venice scene, so I can't.
We've seen some wrestling audiences like not do 15 minutes because they get cut off before that, but go pretty long.
November on the Post Wrestling Cafe will include Rewind Away, looking at some of the biggest retirement matches in pro wrestling history with selections from All Japan Pro Wrestling, WWE, and Stardom, among others. Plus, we'll have reviews of TNA Turning Point, UFC 322 from Madison Square Garden, and the Tanahashi Final Homecoming. John and Wei will be taking all of your questions on this month's installment of Ask Away, and John gets together with Brandon from New Jersey for a Season 4 retrospective of 90210. All that and so much more. Join now at postwrestlingcafe.com. $6 gets you in the door.